Hello everybody and welcome back to the wild world of modular synthesis. In the last episode, we built this detuned synth that uses 5 voltage controlled oscillators and makes this neat sound. Now this is pretty messy and pretty repetitive. So in this episode we're going to learn how to use polyphonic cables to simplify our setup. And just a disclaimer, polyphonic cables aren't real. Sadly, they don't physically exist. But we're not in the physical world, we're in the digital world with VCV Rack, and so we can do whatever we want. So let's get started. So the polyphonic cables can be created by certain modules, or you can create your own from individual monophonic cables using the merge module. And then when you have a polyphonic cable that you would like to split into monophonic cables, you use the split module. So let's go ahead and take these off, and we'll put them into the merge module, like so. Alright, great. Now we've got a polyphonic output, and you can see here it's got 5 channels, each of them has their own voltage. So that's pretty neat. Now we've got this repeated 5 times here. So let's get rid of 4 of them and just leave 1. Now what we were doing before is mixing the pitch output with each of these. So if we hook this up to the merge, and you can see polyphonic cables are a bit thicker than monophonic. You can see here that now the output is a monophonic cable, although only one of its channels is what we expect it to be. See, it doesn't sound quite right. We can hear that there are other synths there, and you can see here that since we have a polyphonic cable going into the VCO, we'll have a polyphonic cable going out. But only one of those voltages is changing, and that's because mix takes in this monophonic, and it's like, okay, add that to the first channel, and it does. And so we need to make the volts per octave into a monophonic cable as well. So let's see, there's actually a whole polyphonic category here. And so if we look here, we've got a couple. I'm just seeing if there's something that will take in a single cable and make it into however many polyphonics we want. But I'm not seeing that. So that might exist. Not quite sure. So we'll just use the good old merge. And we'll put the volts per octave into the merge 5 times on channels 1 through 5. Put that into the mix, and now we can see we're getting what we expect. And then that gets, well, this mix is kind of pointless now, so we'll just put that right into the triangle. Now you can notice that they're all going to be triangle waves now, instead of how we had before, triangles and saws maybe. Let's turn that down to 20. So they're all going to be the same, and there are ways to fix that or change that if you want. Like, we could actually mix the triangles and saws. It wouldn't be exactly the same, but it would still sound pretty interesting. Yeah. So let's put that back on the triangle. And VCV Rack really does a lot of it for you. So the voltage controlled amplifier, that still works. The mixer mixes them all just as you'd expect. So that's pretty good. One interesting implication of this polyphonic cable thing is that if you right click on MIDI to CV and you go down, you'll see something polyphony channels 1 or monophonic. You can turn this up, and that will pretty much right out the gate allow you to play multiple notes at a time without having to have multiple oscillators. Oh. But at the same time, the volts per octave will be polyphonic. It's a bit complicated. It'll be polyphonic by default, but if you were to, let's see, if you were to just have a regular oscillator, get rid of that, V oct, go in here. Now we can play chords with just one oscillator, just by turning the polyphony mode up to 16, for example. Now you could turn it to whatever you wanted, but 16 is just the max. So that's nice. That's one of the benefits of using a virtual modular synth. Easy to have polyphony. And if you notice here on the voltage controlled amplifier, it has individual bars to show that it's a polyphonic input here. Yeah, so that's basically it for this episode. Monophonic cables, a very useful tool that we have in our virtual toolbox. So let me know down in the comments if you have any suggestions, and hope you learned something, and happy synthin'.